All right, so we're back with the honored individual, the second podcast of today. The first, well, I hope not the last guest appearance. I'll let him introduce himself because he's a man of many words to not many people. So, without further ado, introduce yourself and tell us who we're with today.
Hi to finding my voice, right?
Yes, sir.
Hi guys. I'm Nissi, Ndewere. Uh, I'm from South Africa, so mind the accent. But yeah.
So. To those who don't know, this has been a long time coming, but because of the fact that coupled with me not being here for a while, Nissi's gifted me with his voice, so I'm gonna try and do it justice. Um, if you don't know Nissi, who lives in Maybe, it's probably because he's always on the grind. Man has 3 jobs: academic weapon, athletic weapon. Man's taking care of business in South Africa and here. Although none of us can start a PayPal account. We're figuring it out. So, this first question is courtesy from my mother herself, who's curious about that. Considering you're from South Africa, what brought you here to America? Apart from the fact that ACU probably gave you a good amount of money, but why here? Why in ACU and why in Texas? Why in Abilene, Texas, of all places?
Well, the story's kind of long.
We have a long time.
So, okay. Back home in South Africa, there's not many opportunities and jobs and stuff like that. So, of course, it's a dream for parents, son or daughter to make it out the hood. And out the hood is like the whole country. So basically to just go overseas and actually make a living so that you can use that living to take care of people back home that didn't get the opportunity that you got. So I guess that was the primary intention behind my parents sending me here. I try my best, school, work, things like that. But initially I wanted to come here to play soccer while getting my degree, doing what I love, while taking away the financial strain on my parents. That was my dream. In America, of course. But I guess I got here a different way. And I was supposed to go to Ottawa University, a private university in Kansas, and got the scholarship for soccer. But ACU came out of nowhere. LeBron with the chase down and gave me an academic scholarship. And my dad was like, he gave me the decision, but it wasn't really my choice to begin with. He made me decide whether to go to Ottawa on a soccer scholarship or to go to ACU on the academic scholarship. He advised me to choose ACU. And at the end of the day, I guess that's the decision that I gave back to him, because I had thought whatever he thought must have been right. So I didn't really get to make the decision. And here I am at ACU with a big part of me, now lost or gone, that being soccer. But yeah, I guess that's how I got here. And that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
So you didn't by any means get here through many conventional ways. And for anybody who may be thinking that Nissi could easily partake in endeavors for collegiate soccer here, for those who do not know, unless he were to transition to the opposing gender, he would have no chance here to play soccer. Why? There is no male soccer team here at Abilene Christian University, a D1 institution for almost all sports. And I'm not able to give the reason because I'm not fully sure of the reason. But I think there's something to be shared in Nissi's story because despite the fact that he couldn't, like many other of the international students who love soccer and have established a foundation off of it from back home, from where they are, through your lost trials, you, from what I understand, not only started a club team, but were an integral aspect of allowing others to find their home in a sport that they felt like they lost when they got here. What led you to helping others with something that you yourself felt like you lost, and how do you see it fulfilling you here at ACU? Because it's not the D1 environment that you would initially wanted, but do you find a passion and fulfillment in it, and in seeing your contemporaries also kind of get the joy out of it?
Well, somewhat, because I got here and for the first few days I was like, I can live without soccer, like, let me try my best. And I think that through soccer I made, like, looking back to, while I was back home and stuff like that, it was through soccer that I made most of my relationships. On the pitch, I made most of my relationships because I'm not the most sociable person. I'm not Delson.
Stop this.
Over here.
Stop this immediately.
I don't walk around and people just, gravitate towards me.
Stop
That
it.
doesn't
Stop
happen.
this immediately.
But on the pitch, it kind of felt like that's where I could make my connections with people. Whether it was a bad pass and you tell somebody, it's okay, you'll get it next time. Just simple things like that. And I made some lifelong friends because of the pitch, because of the ball, because of the environment. So I got here and it really challenged me because now I didn't have that easy way out into making relationships. I actually had to go out and talk to people and be like, and talk to people. And I think that was the hardest thing for me. But in pursuing soccer, football here at ACU, I tried to make a club team. I went through the process. I did everything they told me to do. But at the end of the day, ACU just, I don't know if I can say ACU. Oh my days.
We're both about to get kicked out of this school. The difference is I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You still have to stay here for 3 more years.
Anyways, ACU just didn't give me the support. They made it look like they were giving me the support, but at the end of the day, we couldn't even officially use the field to do tryouts. And I saw that I wasn't gonna get anywhere with this. And at the end of the day, I was only a freshman. I am only a freshman who works 2 jobs, who's carrying school and grades that have to have a certain standard. So I had to kind of drop the idea and just fool myself into programs or whatever that they already had here. I got connected. I think a big part of my journey so far was I got connected with Mr. Jason Morris. I'm sure if he heard this, he'd be happy to hear. But he's the director of Lene, I think, and I didn't know that at the time, but when I had expressed my feelings about soccer and stuff to certain professors, they connected me to him. And I spoke to him one time and he told me, I should come. He does like refugee soccer where he just plays soccer with like refugees and, that kind of thing. So that's what I did. I joined him one day on a Sunday afternoon on the intramural field, and we played, and I think kept going back, week after week. And I think that experience just made me realize or see that I didn't have to be playing soccer to feel my own sense of fullness. I could play soccer to share that sense of fullness with the kids that we played with, and I developed great relationships with them. Celebrations after scoring, jokes about bad plays or things like that, and it felt like home for me. And I just really saw the happiness that I used to get from playing soccer in these kids, and it made me see that I didn't need to be playing. I could just be helping other kids play and still feel that same sense of fullness or that same sense of happiness. And that's what I think that's one of the biggest contributors to my happiness right now at ACU. I've developed a great relationship with those kids, as I've said. And I couldn't be happier. But yeah, I don't know if that answered the question.
Oh, it answered it above and beyond. I told you that the beauty of this was that I could ask a question, and because of your insights and how introspective you are, you'll take it in many directions, but ultimately people can get a lot from not only your story, but your testimony. And back to the concept of you talking about leaving home and a lot of your relationships being forged from soccer and from the ball, and coming out here and kind of being forced to socialize, which you'd never do because people just naturally gravitate towards you because, everyone loves you. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So with that being said, what do you think would have been your medium of getting through to people through relatability if it wasn't soccer? Because you came here initially just a kid with a dream and with hopes who had, okay, here's how we met. On a basketball court where you were playing barefoot, you had AirPods in, and you weren't clueless, but all you had was you and your music. What, if it wasn't for the ball, what would be your relatability with these children and with these people? How would you see them eye to eye if it wasn't for that soccer ball to be a bridge to their world?
I think that a lot of things that happen to me, a lot of things that I do aren't done by myself, as I've expressed this to you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I find myself in situations or in, certain activities that I never thought I'd be in. Like, I told Delton I'll never be on your podcast, bro.
He did.
I'll never use my voice because I think that, anyways. But so...
You were going to get into something there. You cut yourself off.
We'll see about that later.
Okay, calm.
But onto people and stuff. So because of that, I actively make a prayer every day for the Lord to use me however He wants me to be used. Every night. So, that as glamorous as that might sound, oh yeah, I'm led by the Spirit in whatever I do. It's not. It really isn't. I do find myself in uncomfortable situations, and I do find myself in situations I just wish I wasn't in. But at the end of the day, I see why I was put into those situations. Just the way that we met, I don't play basketball. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to the court and play barefoot nonetheless. That's what I did. And that's when I met you. And here we are. My college experience would have been significantly worse had I not met you that day. And the same goes for a lot of other relationships that I've developed so far here at ACU, without soccer and stuff. I met a lot of other people in very weird ways.
Yeah.
A certain intuition I might have had in the moment to just be like, oh, let me go talk to that person. And that's what I did. And I have great friends right now because of that. So I don't have a solid answer for you. All I can tell you is that nothing I do is my intention, but God's intention. So yeah, I thank God for that every day. He leads me, he guides me, and I am where I am because of him.
You are kind of the first faith-based person truly led by the Spirit that I've had on this, and that's why I didn't want to take it lightly, because I understood that we were probably going to tread in this direction. Since a lot of the things that you've been involved in, as you say to me constantly, but kind of that come to fruition through a lot of your endeavors, because anyone who knows Nissi knows I never thought I'd find someone who's more of a homebody than me, but if you give him a bit of sweets, a sweet beverage, and Chick-fil-A with some decent Chick-fil-A sauce, you won't see him for a good 2-3 days. Supply him with all his needs, and that Negro is not going outside whatsoever. But yet he somehow finds his way into these moments where he's just there at the right place, at the right time, which allows him to then help someone else in the right place in the right time. I think I quoted this initially from this book, The Four Agreements, which I think I'll read again because it reminded me of you. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, it just means you think very lowly of yourself. So he said, then something happened inside of him and transformed his life forever. He looked at his hands, he felt his body, and he heard his own voice say, I am made of light, I am made of stars. He looked at the stars again, and he realized that it's not the stars that create light, but rather light that creates the stars. And effectively, through the relationships that Nissi's forged, he himself, through the light that the Spirit has dwelt within him, has permitted him to create stars with a lot of people. He brings the best out of people, and he brings the best out of all of his friends. You talk about a man that has sacrificed his own needs for another, from relenting to it. Well, it's not like he really had a choice in coming to ACU, but maintaining his contacts with his friends, taking care of them, sacrificing meals so that he can take care of his friends. Where does that, and that's not even the crux of it. There's so much more that you do that nothing and no one more but the Spirit and your own little Spotify intense playlist will know, and your Feels TikTok playlist. But apart from that, where did those virtues come from? Who imparts them to you? Was it your mother? Was it just, are you going to attribute it to the Spirit? How would you attribute it to? Because you and your mom have a beautiful relationship, so you can go on and on about her. I don't care if you spend 3 hours talking about her. It's worth it.
Yeah, so growing up, I didn't really, I guess when people hear that I'm in America and I pay all these fees, they must think that, I came from South Africa and I'm some kind of African prince or something.
Coming to America.
That could not be further from the truth. I had enough. My parents always did the best they could, and I love them for it. But me personally, I was just a broke boy. Honestly, I was a broke boy. And my friends, I have friends that I can call my brothers. That's another thing I'd like to thank the Lord for, that He's really just put the right people into my life. And sometimes, I have gone through, some bad things with some bad people. Or not bad people, just, I guess, misguided people. But I have a solid group of people from back home, and every day I thank God for them and pray for them. But I'd like to just say that it was because of them, that I'm here. On days when I didn't have money to watch the movie that we planned to watch on a Saturday, when, Shigi would probably pay for me, or
Shigirez.
Fuchs, you know.
Shigirez.
There were many times like that, and never once they'd be like, damn, you just, like, you're just a leech, or you just broke. And that's exactly why when I come here and I actually have money that I get from work, and I'm able to sacrifice, I guess, not eating on a weekend to send money back home to one of my friends that might need it, you know, for whatever reason, I don't even ask. I just ask how much. You get me? If I'm able to do that now, that's exactly what I'll do. And I've seen it also with my mom, seen it with my dad. Our house, I don't know if you've seen, I've also prayed that my room right now can be like a safe space for anybody. Heck, Delson's probably in my room more than I am, you know. And it's great because I've prayed for things like that because I want my presence to be something warm. I don't want people to walk on eggshells around me, and I don't want people to, you know, just not feel safe. And I've seen that through my mom because our house was never just us that lived in the house. Whether people would come in and ask my mom for advice or to just be around my mom, that's what happened. That's what I saw. And with my dad, you know, he was never stingy, you know. And I guess that's something I try to use in my life too, to just like be there, whether I'm giving somebody my time or whether I'm giving somebody my money. Giving, I think, is something really big for me. If my family was listening to this right now, my sister would probably strongly disagree.
What have you been doing, your sister?
She'd probably strongly disagree. Be like, Nissi? Be like, bro, come on now.
That's not the man I know.
But, yeah, I guess leaving home has really taught me a lot of things, like just seeing the way in which my parents live their lives. And I really just try to just be like them and walk in their image as well as God's. And I guess that's why I do what I do. I don't commit myself or feel as much pride in myself or speak as highly of myself the way I guess you guys do. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. But I do try my best to make others better just by being around me. If I can do that, I'm happy. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I oftentimes use the adage or kind of the story of Exodus in Moses being able to lead his people to the promised land, but yet not being able to venture into it. I believe I utilized that analogy yesterday. And you've yet to discuss anything pertaining to love, but you have mentioned the dynamics between your parents, and how you wish to be like them. You don't have to go fully into it, but you also discuss how your mom has not only been a beacon of light to you, but her story and how she's been and her drastic conversion has allowed you, and how it has allowed you to perceive people who are oftentimes misguided, oftentimes hurt, or oftentimes you see in similar situations. So despite the fact that you lead people to treasures that they oftentimes cannot fulfill themselves, what type of yearning do you have? Because, like, you are seen as a teacher, you are seen as a sage, you are seen as a helper. At what point, what do you give up for that? What do you sacrifice for that? Because the theme of this entire thing is sacrifice. It's essentially you sacrificing things for people, you sacrificing things for your parents sacrificing majorly for you to come out here. The sacrifice of a soccer scholarship and your dream, your love to come here on academia in the most sufficient way that I could formulate it. Um, what do you give up? I know you've kind of alluded to it, but what do you give up in having to be this man for so many people, but yet not having that person in your life directly to help you with that other than yourself and God? What do you give up?
Well, I mean, I'd like to describe my personality as more of a listener than a talker. And I guess in terms of, you know, friendships and stuff, I've always been that person, I'd like to believe. But I guess with the people I have back home, and even you, I finally, you know, have been hurt. And it's certain things like that where I can just talk and you'd listen. And it's, we'd sit. And just presence itself, you know that we'd sit in my room for hours.
Yeah.
And not even say a word. But I think it's in those moments where we learn even more about each other. And you asked me about love and whatever.
Hebana.
Hebana. If you're listening to me back home, guys, I've taught Canadians Soto. It's crazy.
His influence transcends the globe.
Anyways, so I don't. I guess love has been difficult being a listener because people would fall in love. I'm sure you know this too, because you're the same way that people would fall in love with you just because you listen to them. And I guess it's harder for you to fall in love with somebody when you see that you're just giving and you don't get anything from it. And of course I love people, and that's why I'm there to listen to them. But I'm not in love with you because you've given me nothing. I don't know if that makes sense, but I guess that's something I've struggled with. And that's probably another reason why it's been difficult for me to express emotion, because I was never given the opportunity to, because I was always listening. So in times when somebody actually gives me that time of day, it's really difficult. So if you're asking me if I've been in love,
if you want to answer that, you can. You've asked yourself that question, and this could open up some really interesting floodgates, but ones that I think should be opened up justifiably so, because oftentimes we conform to the love we think we deserve, and what we deserve is oftentimes a byproduct of our environment. You've seen love, you've seen pseudo-love, and you've seen just sheer, y'all need to put in divorce papers right now because you have no right even being humans in the same vicinity. Y'all shouldn't even be within a herpes pole of each other, let alone kissing each other. So, if you've described the duality of it in your life, if you want to talk about it, you may, but to your own comfort, of course.
Okay.
I think in the rose. I'm sorry.
I think I've seen a lot of love, and I love love. I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather watch a romance movie than an action movie. And as a guy, people be like, "What the heck's wrong with you, bro?" But that's just me, and that's just because I've seen both sides. Well, I wouldn't say there's two sides to love. I think there's way more. But I've seen both sides, the good and the bad. And I'll start with the bad. You know, me and you have seen it even on campus. And it's like, bro, that can't be what love is.
Right.
You know, because we do have a certain perception of love. And I think that the standard that was set for me with my parents was really high. My parents never showed the bad sides of love. My parents never fought in front of us. I don't know if they even fought at all because I never saw it. But at the end of the day, they went to bed in love. They made that decision to not go to bed feeling any type of animosity towards each other. And I've learned the biggest lessons, from them, and they set the standard for what love should be for me. But it was kind of conflicting because I learned, certain things about their marriage, and I tried to think, oh my days, if that was me, like, how would I have handled that? Certain situations where I guess you meet a girl, by divine encounter, like God could have put this person into your life, but she's coming with, I guess, tattoos and 2 kids, but already, made new in the spirit, already saved, and God could have put this person in front of me, and with the mindset that I had before this, I would have thrown that divine encounter away because of standards set for me.
And you would have been throwing away your own mother in a sense.
Because that was my mother. My mother wasn't perfect. She's perfect right now. Like, that's my mom.
We love Miss Eileen.
I love her. But she wasn't. And I think that understanding that was really difficult for me before because I never saw her like that. I never saw her as the person she was before Christ. And I think that had I not learned that, over this time, I would have probably thrown away a blessing, a person that God might have put into my life. But I thank God because, I learned it. Hopefully it's not too late. So I guess that was, my parents were the standard. They really were. So, coming here to ACU, being a hopeless romantic, you watch these movies and you be like, when's it gonna be me?
All the time.
You get me? It's like,
about last night. Shit. When's it go? Yeah.
And it's like, when's it gonna be me? And I guess, I ask that question a lot, but I'll never actively pursue anybody outside of my room. So I guess I kind of just sit in my room and I'm like, this meet cute needs to happen. Like, I just need to walk out of my room and find, an angel sitting, I guess, in the lobby of maybe, and we just connect. And I guess it hasn't really been like that with my experiences so far. I'm not in any rush, but if you ask me if I have fallen in love, I guess I'd say yes. As somebody that's not as in touch with emotion as I'd like to be, I don't know. Let me stop right there.
All right.
Okay. You can, yeah.
If you want to keep going, you might, but if you feel like you're venturing into territory where you'll say something that you might have to answer for later, you don't have to.
Nah, you can ask me anything you like. I just don't know where to go from there.
All right, let me set some direction. Donda West had this quote in Genius, which was fascinating. She alluded to Kanye's ego, and in a moment of pure bliss, where it seemed like time had froze, said, "The giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing." Now, you'd think that that's obvious. The giant wouldn't even be able to see himself in the mirror, but that's the point. And it alludes to when ego basically engrosses a person, it becomes the person. They no longer are able to see anything else because they see themselves in such a high regard or inner regard. You can use it in many aspects and many facets. But in your instance, as someone who kind of uses your room as a shield from the world, as a shield from yourself, as a shield from your own heart, you're not, and you're in a weird position as the giant. You don't think much of yourself, yet you still see nothing when you look in that mirror. So, do you ever try and look at yourself through the lens of other people to help yourself, or of other people not giving you that assurance that you are everything because you're such a listener?
This makes me think of the video I sent you about Charlie Brown.
Oh, that was such a sad video.
Charlie Brown said in that video, I think I can quote it verbatim because that's how many times I've seen it. He said, "You know what that red-haired girl sees when she looks at me? Nothing." I'm not even gonna carry it on, but that was his perception of how somebody else looked at him, particularly that red-haired girl.
One girl.
And I guess that's been something I've been trying to, figure out for myself, how other people look at me. I try, to be as genuine as possible and as intentional as possible in everything I say and everything I do. But at the end of the day, I still think that people just look at me and see nothing. You get me? And that's not I don't say
He's
that.
not depressed, guys.
Yeah,
Please don't worry.
Don't report me to SOAR or whatever.
Trust me, he doesn't need
I'm
that.
okay.
And it's too late anyway.
Yeah, I'm okay. But it's not something I sit in my room and cry about. It's something that I just try to improve. You get me? If I feel as though that's the way people look at me, I am actively trying to change it every day. As much as I don't care about how people feel about me, because I know who I am in Christ, I try to not show people who I am or show people, I'm this amazing guy, because that's not even how I see myself. But I try to show the glory of God every day. I want people to look at me and see, wow, that person is blessed. Wow, that person carries so much anointing. Wow, that person, if people can look at me and say that, then I'm fulfilling my purpose. You get me? I don't need, recognition for anything that I do, because nothing I do is my intention, as I've said. But I think that's just something that I really battle. And if I believe that somebody doesn't see the glory of God through me, that's something that I need to fix. And something that I actively try to better. Yeah.
You don't think that some people are just so caught up in their own demons and darkness that they're unable to see the light that's within another person? Because as I say oftentimes, sometimes we're all in the world of humanity, and oftentimes it's hard to see another human as a human because we're so caught up in our lens of being our human. But we can go on about identity and whatnot for a while to kind of segue. Actually, this isn't really a segue, just another direction. You said you don't seek external validation anymore. What? How do you work from this guy whose dad has achieved numerous accolades, who's felt like he's always had to live and dwell in a shadow, to now stepping out and creating your own shadow? How do you work forward from what you were to what you are working towards becoming now in your anointing?
Okay, I've spoken a lot about how, I do things for the glory of God, and that's really how I am, or how I try to be. But I mean, I am human, and sometimes you do feel natural things, and yes, I don't seek validation, but truthfully speaking, everything I've done from being a little boy to where I am now has been to make my dad proud. The decisions I've made, the things I say, the way in which I conduct myself, to make my dad proud. And if I can say, if I must be honest, like, if he's proud, I'm happy. You get me? Whether that makes me unhappy in what I'm doing, whether he is proud or not, has been my primary concern for a lot of my life, even right now, honestly. So I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's a good and a bad thing, because it's kept me out of nonsense. It's kept me out of problems. Just being somebody that my dad can be proud of has molded my personality and my character. And it has its downsides too.
My mom narrated every downside of it when she caught you at freaking Outbacks or Texas Roadhouse. My gosh. Yeah. Kind of like the duality of it molding your personality. She basically was like, because her thing was making her mom proud. And in a sense, she realized that she was molding her personality to her mom's liking, instead of molding her own person. But she was blinded by that illusion, and instead became the person her mom wanted her to be, until she broke out of it. And to your extent, it would be your dad wanted you to be. But you don't see a need to break out of it, because ultimately you just want to make him proud.
Yeah. And my dad's great. Like, he came first in class, and he was just the best in everything growing up. And yeah, I mean, I was constantly reminded about that growing up too, when I certainly wasn't the best in everything. I sucked at a lot of things, like, honestly. And I guess at times I questioned it. I was like, but Daddy, were you really that good? Until I actually went. My dad's from Zimbabwe, by the way. Until I actually went back, and saw all those accolades and achievements that he actually did. And I guess that just made it worse, because I got confirmation now of how sucky I was, So, I mean, yeah, living in that image, living in that shadow, it's been difficult, because it's like, even though my dad never said it or showed it, you could see that, like, I'm not up to standard right now. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not, because for my dream for my child is for him to be better than me. You get me? So if I have a child, and my child or my son is doing worse than I was doing, I would feel some type of way. And although my dad never said it to me, he's great. He never ever, said that to me. If I would feel some type of way, I would expect him to be feeling that type of way, even though he isn't saying it. So I guess that pushed me to be better, or to try and be better in everything that I did, in my academics, in my sport, things like that. I also think that my dad already had a picture of me being this, less than individual already, and I don't blame him for it. And that influenced his decisions for me now, after I think I'm significantly better than I was when I was younger. So, I mean, I am in a situation where I think that I'm not, that I can be doing more. I should be doing more, but have been withheld from doing so because of a prior image that I guess I made for myself, you know. I don't know. Yeah. But, yeah. I don't know.
Do you feel his shadow lingering over you here in Abilene, or?
Well, I guess the one upside of moving all the way on to the other side of the world is that you get to mold your own image, be your own person. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And I think even the people I've interacted with, my professors, my friends, I think that they look at me and they're like, that's a great freaking guy. And I'm really appreciative of that. But I also thank my dad for that, because it's because of him. You know, he gets messages from some of my professors and they're like, oh, your son is just so amazing, you know. And we laugh about it because he'd be like, you know, like, when did you start being amazing?
That's so sad.
I'd be like, but it's just jokes, though. It's just jokes.
I
That's
get
how
it,
you
though.
know. And I'd be like, but daddy, like, I've been amazing. Like, you just ain't seen it. He was too used to it to see it, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm living in his shadow. I think I am. I really do think that I'm making him proud. You know, I am trying my best. I sit up. I go to work. I mean, just so you can understand, like, I haven't received a cent of what's the word, of allowance from my parents. Not because they don't want to send it. I think it's like bank problems and stuff that's been going on over these past few months, like, as I've been here. But I've really lived off of the money that I've made from work, you know, from work and from, I guess, you know, Delson just bringing me Chick-fil-A and stuff. So, I mean, it's been great to have, you know, lived this long, you know, alone. I was in my parents' house my whole life. You know, they provided for me. They provided everything for me. And yes, ACU provides a lot, like the bean.
Oh, you don't have to sugarcoat it.
And stuff
they do
like
that
that.
enough on tour. Be honest.
But I made it. I didn't think I'd be able to make it this far, you know, by myself, without you know, a cent from my parents. And I did. So, I mean, I guess that's one good thing that I've done. But yeah, I really do think that I'm making him proud. And I hope to continue to make him proud. Yeah.
All right. Before we transition, I'm taking a little break because otherwise it won't save the segment. I had this issue with the other podcast, so now that we've returned, I'd imagine that there'd be some jingle of a commercial break, but I'm not there yet. I'm still on the come up. And although I'd say this will end up transitioning to a lighter topic, we're eventually going to end up reverting right back into depth, because that's always how it goes. And to no one's dismay, it's a beautiful thing, and I wouldn't ask for anything else, nor would I pray for anything else, for this is the embodiment, truly, of a lot of my prayers come to life. And, all right, so we talk about love, we talk about making somebody proud. We talk about your identity. We talk about that by the Spirit. Let's break this down. Let's do this. All right. So, who's that man Aubrey Graham that breaks it all down for you? Who's that man Aubrey Graham, aka do right and kill everybody, that knows you better than, and who, no matter what lyric you have, what is it? By the Atlantic, I'm on the. Oh, come talk on it. Talk on it. What I know that this may seem like a seemingly silly concept that I didn't understand at the beginning of the year, but as I got to listen to it through his lens, through his life, because no two people listen to music the same way, he put me on to Dave. He put me on to freaking... And I'm from Toronto, so for him to allow me to see Drake from a different light is crazy. I've lived there for 17 years of my life. And this man showed me the very man that runs our city better than I could have ever perceived him. So, speak on that, because, shit, Aubrey Graham, Drake, that's the guy that you go to whenever anything happens. 61,000 Spotify minutes, though, so you're lacking, but...
Okay. So, I mean, Drake specifically, I didn't even like, I think from, 2019, one of my friends, Coffee.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Coffee. We were in the Xbox party chat, just as COVID had started and stuff like that. So, we were in the party chat and we were having a discussion about, go ahead, who the GOAT? Yeah, we were having a discussion about, who's the GOAT? And, I was throwing names. I was like, better than Weezy, better than Lil Wayne. And he was like, bro,
just listen, deep it.
Drake's the GOAT. And I was like, bruh, you can't be serious, bro. You know what? Be for real right now. Because, I'm a very opinionated individual. So, I mean, what I believe is what should be believed by everybody. That's why. Especially when arguing about, certain topics like anime and stuff like that. But, yeah. So, he told me that Drake was the GOAT. And I was like, bruh, let's be for real. Until I actually started listening to Drake. And I was like, because I have opinions on things I don't even know about. On things that I could tell you that, what's a show everyone watches? Peaky Blinders sucks, even though I've never seen a second of it.
My roommate loves Peaky. He's watching it right now.
Yeah, that's I guess something really bad about me. But yeah, that's what I do. So I got into Drake, I really, really got into Drake. And, I don't know, a month or two into listening to everything, because I listen to music all the time. I have...
61,000 minutes isn't enough.
I think even in the time of recording this, I'm having withdrawal symptoms right now from, not listening to music. So, I mean, yeah. So I need a raise. I need a med kit right now. Anyway, I actually got into Drake, and everything just seemed so relatable. Whether it was stupid things that I was going through at the time, I was like, dang, Drake, you know my life for real, bro. That's how I felt. And till this day, things that I'm going through right now, I be singing in Drake's albums right now. And, I put Delson on because, sometimes artists, even to other artists, sometimes artists really have a bad, rep because of songs that have went mainstream.
Like NF?
Like NF and Jaden Smith. People hear Jaden Smith and they think, I'm just an icon living. And stupid things like that. And Batman. But they don't really hear the songs that don't get the attention. The ones that really, can impact your life. That you can really relate to. And I guess for me, I had the privilege of knowing of those songs and listening to those songs beforehand, and before, like, the viral ones had, came out. So I introduced some of their music and NF especially to Delson over here, and
Shoot, yeah.
I think even just having somebody that would listen to me talk about these things, because I can really geek. Like, I can really geek over some things. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I might seem like I'm some kind of mysterious or quiet individual, but, like, seriously, once you get me going, it's hard to get me to stop.
I'm about to.
I'm about to. Yeah, so, I mean, I've had the privilege of speaking to Delson about these things, because he's somebody that's really open to it. He really got the grasp or understood certain things, like the poetry in Jaden's music, the depth to NF's music,
He's
and
so talented.
I guess the relatability that Drake really just carries. So, I mean, yeah, I guess music has been something that has really helped me, not only, like, just feel related to, but to block out silence. I think I use music to get away from my own head and my own thoughts. As bad as that might sound, I mean, we all need an out. We all need something like that, and I guess music has been that for me. So yeah.
That's intriguing. Do you want to continue, or?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, because that's intriguing, because I always thought that you listened to music to face your thoughts. You're somebody whose mind runs at 1 billion miles per hour, and I just thought that music was your way of, like NF's Mansion song, the lyrics written on the walls of his mansion that he's constructed and fortified within his own mind. I thought that you used music to face your introspective nature, but never did I think that it was an actual catharsis to escape it. Because, like, you've been listening, like, when FATD, For All the Dogs, came out, I wanted to know your opinion, and your favorite song off of that album ended up coming to fruition in your reality, Polar Opposites.
Not really.
Why do I get treated different? And I didn't understand it. And I wasn't so fond of the song until I started hanging around with you more and seeing some interesting occurrences happen in your life which relate to that song. So I guess how much of it is an escape versus you actually facing your own thoughts?
Yeah, I guess there's certain reasons I don't do certain things. Sometimes I say things the wrong way, but with the right intention, and people, really get hurt because of it. I don't know whether it's because they hold me in such high regard and I say some stupid thing and then it really hurts, or I don't know. But with music, it's just like, I don't have to do the talking.
You're gonna start geeking, and I feel it, and I
You get
want it
me.
to happen.
Right.
So we're going there.
I don't have to do the talking, and I listen to music, and it's like exactly what I'm saying right now is being said in this song. And yeah, it's just, yeah. So I guess not only is it helping me escape what's going on in my head, because that's why I don't like writing and I don't like necessarily talking, because I think of so many things that I want to say or want to write, and as soon as I try to get it down, it's out of my head completely. So when I listen to music, it's just like, yeah, I get out of my head and I'm able to listen to somebody else express exactly how I'm feeling. That's why I spoke about relatability being so, important in the music that I listen to. I don't really listen to a lot of, rolling on my wrist, rolling on my wrist. Yeah, nah.
30 to you, baby. Yeah, 60 to you.
Because, I've got a smartwatch on my wrist. There's no rollie, trust me. So, I really listen to a lot of music with depth and with,
Spin the block twice like there ain't nowhere to park.
Spin the block twice like it ain't nowhere to park. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it does help me, deal with whatever I am feeling. But it also helps me escape from the things I'm feeling, Because if it's not said by me, I can never get the rap. I can never get, punished for it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
So, since Coffee was the one to put you on to Drake, read this Drake lyric out for me, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Read that out.
No.
Read that out. All right, so the lyric is, know that I don't make music for N-words who don't get P. I guess that's how you say it. With that being said, what's Coffee been doing? You said he doesn't make music for that don't...
Coffee gets...
Oh, wow.
You get me. But I don't...
Because you're looking for commitment.
Yeah.
You're looking for steady... Because the representation that you've had with your parents. Like, you can't look for anything else.
Yeah, I'm not looking to mess around. I'm not looking to play games. I just think that... And it's like, sometimes guys sleep around or, and it's like they accomplished something, and I don't really see it like that. Or they see an attractive girl, respectfully, and would be like, oh, bro, if she would let me hit, that's how guys talk. Like, realistically, that's how guys talk. And for me, it's just like, bro, I really think that the same way that I am given the opportunity to offer my emotions or my body as well to a female, in the same way, she needs to be able to deserve my body. I am celibate. I don't partake in such activities solely because I believe that I have dedicated my body to Christ. And if I am leaving pieces of my body and my soul in different women, what does that say about how I value my own body? You get me?
Mm-hmm.
A body that I've given to Christ. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I'm not doing it. And I make jokes about it. Yeah, I'll be like, hey guys, absolutely 19 years in counting, absolutely nothing. And I make jokes about it just because I'm a funny guy.
It's like the video where it's like your eyes will twinkle if you're a virgin, and you open your eyes and the sun shines from your eyes.
Like, yeah. So I make jokes about it, but like, on a serious note, I think highly of activities like that, and I don't want to diminish the way I think about them before it's really meant for me. Do you get me? I really think that, like sex and things of that nature are a blessing, something that we're supposed to cherish, but only in marriage. And with the person that God has for us to appreciate it with. So I don't know. Yeah, really, I've seen a lot of crazy things. Oh my goodness.
Oh my, ACU.
ACU. You know, you think Christian University, you think, oh my days, I'm sending my son to be a nun or something. I no.
That's none of their business,
Honestly.
for sure.
So I've seen a lot of crazy things, and I mean, never will I judge people for the decisions that they make and acts that they commit. But hopefully, I guess, you know, just from them hearing the way in which a guy, and for women too, like, mad respect. I really hope that you can listen to this and realize, you know, that your body is just as important, and you don't need to let anybody, just anybody to, you know, use your body for their own desires. And you don't need to do that to a guy as well. I hope that that's something, you know, if I you know, say anything, or you listen to anything that I've said, I really hope that that's something that sticks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And with that being said, before all is said and done, just know that if you're going to get offended, it's probably because that says more about you than it says about him. And that statement is directly taken from Darius. I learned that from him. Shout out to him. And with that being said, if you have a problem with anything he said, take it up with me. My socials are everywhere, plastered across this podcast. So if you have a problem with anything he's saying, the two people that listen to this, take it up with me, not with him. You know where he resides, you know where he stays, and you know where I am. So once again, we encounter a little bit of some technical difficulties. But with that being said, I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, to ask him the last two questions of the episode, which is GOAT Drake lyric or lyrics, and shout out to any friends here or back home. Lay it out, put it out there for everyone to hear.
Okay, saying everything again kind of sounds weird, but yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, or shout out, you know, to the Goofy Goobers. They've made my experience here across the world at ACU significantly better. And shout out to my homies back home. They know who they are. Shout out to LSPD, all of my boys, honestly, you know, all of the people that have sown a seed into my life, my parents, everybody. I love you all. This is not an achievement speech or anything, but I'm just using this opportunity to thank all of you. I think the GOAT lyric, you know, from Drake, for me, or right now, would have to be On Polar Opposites. He said, either it's your text that I'm misreading, or it's just your actions I'm misleading. And I think a lot of people would relate to that, you know, going through some, I guess, going through some, like, relationship stuff. Trust me, I'm not going through any relationship stuff, but, you know, listening to other people's stories, I think, you know, they'd benefit from listening to that song, Polar Opposites by Drake. Yeah, what else do I have to say? I'd like to thank, you know, Delson as well for doing this podcast and giving a voice to many people. Not only a voice to the people on the podcast, but also a voice for people to listen to that might need to hear whatever me or the people on the podcast might have to say. I'd like to speak a blessing over whoever is listening to this podcast, and speak a blessing over Delson and his future endeavors with this podcast and whatever he ends up doing. I hope that you guys can do the same, listening to this. Delson is going through, a great ordeal right now. But I know that he will be great in whatever he ends up doing. So, yes, I bless this podcast. I bless Delson's life and whoever is listening to this and all my friends and family. Yeah.
And to his sister, who he loves extremely,
lot.
more than anything in the world.
Sisters.
More to his sisters, his brothers, his family, and may he gain the last word.
Do better, be better, and stay blessed. Thank you.